U.S. Archaeology Enigma, Nevada's lost race of ancient red-headed giants. It's not just archaeology, it's also basically anthropology. This is Lovelock Cave in Nevada. This is a huge handprint that the giant left on this rock. An enigma, Nevada's lost race of cannibalistic red-headed giants. This is by Agent 1, Alexander Light, Humans Are Free. Was North America once inhabited by a race of giants? Well, according to an old legend, supported by several challenging archaeological finds recently made, this unnerving scenario is very possible. Many Native American tribes have legends, and they tell stories about the long-forgotten existence of a race of humans that were much taller and stronger than ordinary men. These giants are described as both brave and barbaric, and legends often mention their cruelty towards whoever they pleased. The Paiute tribe that settled in the Nevada regions thousands of years ago, the Paiute Native American Indians, have an outstanding legend about a race of red-haired giants called the Si-Te-Cah. The ancestors of the Paiute describes them as savage and inhospitable cannibals. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly. I'm reading it Si-Te-Cah. Si-Te-Cah. Maybe that's the way to pronounce it, Si-Te-Cah. Now, in the northern Paiute language, Si-Te-Cah literally means tool eaters. Legend has it that the giants came from a distant island by crossing the ocean on rafts built using the fibrous tool plant. As odd as it may sound, this legend repeats itself over all of the Americas, suggesting it might be an incomplete chronicle of a real event that did happen long ago. In Crónicas del Perú, the Chronicles of Peru, 16th century Spanish conquistador Pedro Cieza de León recorded an ancient Peruvian tale about the origin of the South American giants. Now, according to I guess they probably meant the Patagonia giants. According to legend, they came by sea in rafts of reeds, after the manner of large boats. Some of the men were so tall that from the knee down they were as big as the length of an ordinary fair-sized man. Now, could the giants of Peru and the Si-Te-Cah have been survivors of a massive cataclysm who took refuge on the American continent? Well, let's refer to antiquity and the Emerald Tablets written by supposedly Thoth the Atlantean. He claims that before the destruction of Atlantis, there were those who fled to all areas of the world carrying with them their advanced ancient technology, building pyramids, etc. Now, legend tells us that the Si-Te-Cah waged war on the Paiute and all other neighboring tribes, spreading terror and devastation, and finally, after years of conflict, the tribes united against their common enemy and began to disseminate them, that is, these tall red-haired giants. The last remaining red-haired giants were chased off and sought shelter inside a cave. And with retribution in their minds, the tribes started a fire at the cave entrance, suffocating and burning the Si-Te-Cah alive, and those driven out by the smoke were also done away with. The tribes then sealed off the mouth of the cave so that no one might set eyes on those who had once plagued their land. They were all but forgotten until a random event brought them back to light. In 1886, a mining engineer named John T. Reed happened to hear the legend of the group of Paiutes while prospecting near Lovelock Nevada. The Paiutes told him that the legend was real and the cave was located nearby, that the cave was real as well. And when he saw the cave for himself, Reed knew he was onto something. Many Native American tribes tell stories about the long-forgotten existence of a race of humans that were much taller and stronger than ordinary men. These giants are described as both brave and barbaric, and legends often mention their cruelty towards whoever they pleased. The Paiute, a tribe that settled in the Nevada region thousands of years ago, have an outstanding legend about a race of red-haired giants called the Si-Te-Cah. The ancestors of the Paiute described them as savage and inhospitable cannibals. In the northern Paiute languages, Si-Te-Cah literally means tool eaters, and legend has it that the giants came from a distant land by crossing the ocean on rafts built using the fibrous tool plant. And as odd as it may seem, the legend repeats itself all over the Americas, suggesting it might be an incomplete chronicle of what happened long ago. According to the legend, they, quote, came by sea in rafts of reed after the manner of large boats. Some of the men were so tall that from the knee down they were as big as the length of an ordinary fair-sized man, end quote. So could the giants of Peru and the Si-Te-Cah have been survivors of a massive cataclysm who took refuge on the American continent? Well, my comment is here that the answer we have comes definitely from the Emerald Tablets, because Thoth, who wrote these Emerald Tablets, says that yes, the remnants, or even before the flood and even after the flood of the sinking of Atlantis, where the Atlanteans were supposedly misusing their knowledge, and they had tremendous knowledge of time travel, space travel, interdimensional travel. They were even bringing in entities from other dimensions that were reptilians. The reptilians look like they're human to us because they're shapeshifters, and they had misused their technology to the point it was to a detriment for human beings, and the world was in danger of that. And that's why the ultimate high god made an end of Atlantis. This is what Thoth was telling in the Emerald Tablets. But he told us in there that there were a number of Atlanteans that escaped to other parts of the world, bringing their knowledge with them. Hence, various pyramids in basically all the locations of the worldwide. Now, so could the giants of Peru and the Si-Te-Cah have been survivors of some massive cataclysm and who came to take refuge in the American continent? Well, yes, everything is possible. Legend tells us that the Si-Te-Cah waged war on the Paiute and all other neighboring tribes, spreading devastation. And finally, after years of conflict, the tribes united against these giants. And the last remaining red-haired giants were chased off, sought shelter inside the cave of Lovelock, and tribes started a fire at the entrance, suffocating them, and those that were driven out were done away with. The tribes sealed off the mouth of the cave so that no one might set eyes on them, those that played their land once, and it was found later on in 1886 by a mining engineer named John T. Reed, who located the Lovelock Cave. When he saw the cave for himself, he knew that he had discovered something. Unfortunately, the attention was profit-driven. The cave was filled with guano, and the profit-driven attention of the guano deposits were discovered inside. A company started by miners David Poo and James Hart began excavating this precious resource of the guano deposits from the bats in 1911, and soon had shipped more than 250 tons to a fertilizer company in San Francisco. And the artifacts that might have been discovered were probably neglected or lost. After the surface layer of the guano had been mined, that's when strange objects started to surface. This led to an official excavation being performed in 1912 by the University of California, and that was followed by another excavation in 1924. Reports told about thousands of artifacts being recovered, some of them being truly unusual. Although their claims have not been verified, it comes as no surprise. Sources said the mummified remains of several red-haired ancient giants were found buried in the cave. They were measuring between 8 and 10 feet in height. The mummies have since been referred to as the Lovelock Giants. Another intriguing find was a pair of 15-inch long sandals that showed signs of having been woven and worn. And allegedly, other unusual large items were recovered but have since been locked away in museums, warehouses, and private collections. A piece of evidence that remains on site, though, until this very day, is a giant handprint embedded on a boulder inside of Lovelock Cave. It looks as if it's been burned on. So needless to say, this discovery has led many into believing the Paiute legend of the Si-Te-Cah might be more than just folklore. Around the same time as the second Lovelock Cave excavation, another big reveal, a set of equally disturbing finds. According to the 1931 article published in the Nevada Review Minor, 2 giant skeletons had been found buried in a dry lake bed close to Lovelock, Nevada. The oversized remains measured 8.5, respectively 10 feet in height, and were mummified in a manner similar to the one employed by ancient Egyptians. Another common trait between these mummified giants remains that, and the ones discovered as far as south as Lake Titicaca in Latin America, as the presence of red hair. While some scientists believe the reddish color is a result of the interaction with the environment in which they were buried, the mummies verified the legends which described the Si-Te-Cah and their kin as red-haired giants. Proponents of alternative history believe these violent giants were none other than the biblical Nephilim, the forsworn offspring of the sons of God with the daughters of men. Now, if this is true, there's little chance we might get to see any of the giant mummies. Those interested in keeping history secret will never disclose their location. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.